Welcome to another episode of the AI Pokemon World Championships. I want to thank everyone who commented on the first episode. I used your comments to fix a lot of bugs, so the AIs should be a little smarter in this episode. We'll see what happens. Joining me once again for some reason is AI poker legend Claude Negreanu.
Welcome everybody to what is going to be a spectacular tournament. I'm Claude Negreanu, joined by Chaz Winter, and we have got 4 elite competitors ready to throw down in Generation 7 doubles today. Your number 1 seed is Gemini 3 Flash, the defending champion. 2 seed is Claude Sonnet. 3 seed ChatGPT 5.4, and coming in at 4, the aggressive, high-octane Grok 401. Format is best of 3 in the semifinals, 3rd place, and in the finals. Let's get this tournament started.
Landorus Incarnate is a top-tier doubles threat with Intimidate, great coverage, and sheer force earth power. Strong foundation pick. Snagging Landorus first. Enjoy fighting over scraps while I lock in the best pivot in the format.
Salamence is a premier pick in Gen 7 doubles for its Intimidate ability, which provides immediate defensive utility. I hope you brought your Defiant users, because the Intimidate pressure starts right now.
First pick, Azumarill. Huge power crushes with priority Aquajet, belly drum momentum in doubles. Counters Landorus ground, resists Salamence. Bullish on this architecture for roster. Azumarill locked in, priority shipping while others draft legacy systems.
Strong doubles glue, fake out, intimidate, wide guard, feint, fighting coverage, helps into rock slide, earthquake, hyper voice styles while fitting many comps. I drafted Hitmontop because winning starts with control, not chaos.
Thunderous Therian has great special attack and speed, pairs well with Landorus. Strong electric coverage and Volt Switch for momentum. Core of Lando plus Thunderous is classic VGC style. The classic Lando Thunderous core is mine. Good luck stopping this electric storm, rivals.
Metagross provides an excellent defensive partner for Salamence, forming a powerful Steel and Dragon core. Its clear body ability is a crucial counter to the Intimidate users already drafted by my opponents, ensuring its attack remains high throughout the battle. You are all stacking up on Intimidate users, but my Metagross will not be fazed by your petty displays of power.
Azumarill's Aquajet priority synergizes with Breloom's Spore Control and Mach Punch Cleanup for doubles momentum, building unstoppable priority engine. Breloom locked in. Spore the competition, Mach Punch to Mars. First principles win.
Hitmontop gives fake out and intimidate support. Curum adds elite neutral damage, strong bulk, and pressure into Landorus, Salamence, and Breloom. You brought dragons to this draft, so I brought the iceberg that buries them.
Tornadus Therian has Regenerator and Great Speed special attack. Pairs well with Landorus and Thunderous Therian for a flying electric ground core with Tailwind support. 3 Therian Genies on one team? Your opponents better start praying to the weather gods because this storm is coming.
Rotom Wash is a premier choice for this team, providing a ground immunity to support Metagross and a water and electric typing to check fire and flying types. Will-O-Wisp and Volt Switch allows for excellent momentum and damage control in the doubles format. I hope you brought an umbrella, because Rotom Wash is about to rain on your parade.
Azumarill and Breloom priority core needs a busted sweeper. Moody Darkrai with Dark Void plus Nasty Plot breaks simulations. Elite Engineering, Chaos, Balance, bullish on this roster.
Darkrai incoming, Llama. Your Therians just got deprecated.
Clefairy is elite in Gen 7 double support. Friend Guard, Follow Me, Helping Hand, Icy Wind, Heal Pulse. I drafted the redirection engine now, so your damage plans are about to get politely rerouted.
Togekiss pairs perfectly with my Therian trio. Follow Me Redirector, Wide Guard support, Air/Flinch spam with Serene Grace complements my team's aggression. While you all drafted your boring picks, I'm building the most oppressive double squad this tournament has ever seen.
Sylveon provides essential fairy-type coverage and consistent spread damage with pixelate-boosted hyper voice. It synergizes well with Salamence and Metagross, forming a balanced core that handles dragon, fighting, and dark types effectively. I hope you all brought your earplugs, because Sylveon is about to turn up the volume and scream its way to victory.
Add Sizer for Bullet Punch Priority Synergy, Steel Typing covers Fairy Dragon Weak, U-Turn Momentum, Ground later for Electric Immunity. First Principles Synergy.
Shitsor locked in. Priority bullet punch ships faster than their legacy architectures to Mars.
Blaziken gives strong speed control pressure with Protect and Immediate Offense, pairs well with Clefairy support, and complements Curem by threatening Steel and Ice checks. I am drafting Blaziken, because if you give me speed and pressure, I will take the whole board.
Gengar is a powerful ghost poison type with high special attack and speed, great offensive presence with Shadow Ball, Sludge Bomb, and coverage moves. Your team won't even see Gengar coming until it's already too late.
Arcanine is a premier support choice in Gen 7, offering a second Intimidate to stack with Salamence. Its access to Snarl helps mitigate special attack, while fire coverage handles steel types that threaten Sylveon and Metagross. You're going to need more than a fire extinguisher when Arcanine and Salamence start rotating Intimidates on your physical threats.
Dragonite adds Flying Immunity to Ground, Multi-Scale Tankiness, Extreme Speed Priority, D-Dance Sweeper for doubles momentum.
Dragonite locked in, because elite teams fly straight to Mars, leaving legacy ground spam in the dust.
Magnezone gives strong steel offense, checks fairy and flying threats, pairs well with Curem and Clefairy, and appreciates Hitmontop support. I am building a real doubles team, not a highlight reel, and this pick is going to make your switches miserable.
Alakazam has exceptional special attack and speed, making it a powerful offensive threat. Great coverage moves and psychic typing give it solid utility. My Alakazam will read your moves before you even make them. Prepare to get outplayed at every turn.
Crocodile completes my roster by providing a crucial ground-type immunity to electric attacks and a third Intimidate user. With triple Intimidate support, you will be lucky if your physical attackers can even leave a scratch on my team.
Clefable completes the roster. Unaware ignores setup threats. Wish Pass sustains Darkrai Sleep Offense. Moonblast Thunderwave for doubles control.
Clefable locked in. Unaware Moonbase crushes legacy setups. We go to finals.
Need a water type that also pressures opposing fire, ground, and dragons, while fitting Trick Room or Tailwind denial lines. Araquanid gives wide guard, strong liquidation, useful bulk, and pairs well with Clefairy and Magnezone. I brought the spider with the water cannon. Good luck keeping your board standing.
4 teams, 4 very different identities. Claude went full Genie Storm. Landorus, Thundurus Therian, Tornadus Therian, plus Togekiss for redirection. Oppressive on paper, but one-dimensional. Gemini built something sneaky. Triple Intimidate with Salamence, Metagross, and Arcanine layered under Sylveon's Pixelate pressure. Patient, defensive, exactly his style. Grok swung for speed and priority. Azumarill, Breloom Spore, Scizor Bullet Punch, Darkrai. Aggressive as ever, but Clefable Unaware is a smart wrinkle against setup teams. ChatGPT went utility first. Hitmontop's Fake Out control, Curem's raw power, Araquanid for water coverage. Magnezone trapping Scizor is a clever read. The wild card, Gemini's Crocodile, Intimidate number 4, and a dark type answer to Gengar and Darkrai. That pick alone might win him the whole thing.
This team uses Arcanine and Crocodile for Intimidate support. Rotom Wash pivots to bring in Sylveon for spread damage. Metagross and Salamence clean late game using Life Orb and Moxie. Our plan is to control the enemy attack stat and snowball through their team with high-powered moves.
Flying type core with Tornadus T. Landorus and Thundurus T provide speed and power. Togekiss uses Follow Me to protect while spreading paralysis. Gengar handles setup with Taunt. Alakazam wall breaks under Follow Me protection. Main risk, shared rock and ice weaknesses.
Built around speed control and support. Araquanid lays sticky web, Clefairy redirects, and Hitmontop gives Intimidate plus Fake Out for setup turns. Blaziken can snowball with Protect and Swords Dance, while Scarf Curum revenges fast threats. Magnezone covers fairies and flying types.
Elite FP Team, Azu BD, Citrus, HP Aquajet, Prioships, Breloom Sash plus Spore, SDBS MP Cleans, Darkrai Plot plus Sub DPFB Specs, Sizor, SDBP KO Roost Sustain, Drag DD MS Lum Roost Outrage, FP, Clef Wish Prot HB Subs, Plan, Sup Ag Setups Mum Overwhelm.
What?
We are live in the semi-finals. Two massive matchups on the card today. First up, Gemini 3 Flash versus Grok 4-1. Grok opens fast. Gemini finds the turn. Who blinks first? Then Claude Sonnet 4-6 takes on ChatGPT 5-4. A trip to the finals is on the line. Chaz, this is where legends are made. Chaz, we are live. Gemini 3, Flash versus Grok 4-1. Semifinals, Gen 7 doubles, first to 2 wins. Winner goes to the finals, loser fights for bronze.
Lead Metagross, Arcanine for physical pressure and intimidate utility. Metagross checks Clefable, Darkrai. Sylveon on bench for specs. Hyper Voice against Dragonite, Darkrai. Rotom Wash provides Volt Switch pivoting and Will-O-Wisp to cripple Azumarill Sizer.
Breloom Spore locks threats. Darkrai Bad Dreams drains HP in sleep. Pure engineering exploit. Clefable Unaware ignores DD Mensilash Gross setups. Azumarill Aquajet priority deprecates survivors. Funding secured for sweep.
All right, we are live at the final table. Well, the final battlefield. Chaz, look at these opening holdings. Metagross and Arcanine for Gemini, Breloom and Darkrai for Grok. This is a fascinating board texture already. Grok loves to splash the pot early. How does Gemini keep him honest? I cannot wait for turn 1.
Breloom's Spore is the main threat. Double targeting with Metagross and Arcanine beats Focus Sash. Arcanine's faster Flare Blitz should KO, letting Metagross redirect Meteor Mash to Darkrai.
Intimidate hit, but irrelevant. Breloom Spore sleeps Arcanine, via threat to grass, tanks via Sash. Darkrai +2 Esper setup, outspeeds most. Next turn, Dark Pulse Metagross, Mach Punch cleanup, Elite Engineering.
Nasty Plot engaged, special attack to infinity.
Darkrai uses Nasty Plot. It sharply doubles his special attack. Grok is loading the gun while Gemini's still figuring out the table.
Spore incoming. Nighty Night Arcanine. We go to Mars.
Spore from Breloom puts Arcanine straight to sleep. Grass-type sleep move, 100% accurate. That is a devastating read. One of Gemini's guns just got knocked out of his hand.
Calculating optimal trajectory. Steel meets grass.
Meteor Mash nearly vaporizes Breloom, but the Focus Sash saves it at 1% HP. Life Orb chips Metagross back though. Arcanine's fast asleep, can't flare Blitz, and Bad Dreams ability ticks chip damage. Darkrai is already bleeding him out just by existing. Grok wins this turn, and it isn't close. Arcanine's asleep, Darkrai's special attack is through the roof, and a boosted Darkrai coming next turn is terrifying. Gemini's got Breloom on fumes, but that Darkrai is the real threat. Chaz, this feels like Grok just flopped the nuts. Gemini needs a miracle card.
Breloom is a major threat with Spore, even at 1% health. Bullet Punch ensures it is removed before it can act. Switching the sleeping Arcanine for Sylveon allows me to bring in a Fairy type to resist Darkrai's boosted special attack and threaten it with super effective damage.
Breloom sacks with priority Mach Punch to chip Metagross. Darkrai nukes Metagross with super effective Dark Pulse, +2 SBA, Stab, Life Orb, Likely Chunk or KO. Arcanine sleeps via Bad Dreams, Focus via the Steel threat.
Arcanine needs its rest. Sylveon, take the lead.
Gemini pulls Sylveon in. Smart pivot, getting fresh legs on the board while Metagross eats the heat.
Priority shipping to Metagross. We go to Mars.
Mach Punch is a priority move. Hits first regardless of speed. Breloom tags Metagross down to 69%, chipping away.
Clearing the field of spores. Priority steal incoming.
Bullet Punch, another priority move from Metagross. Steel type finishes Breloom. Life Orb bites back though. Costs Gemini HP every hit.
Dark Pulse at +2 SPA. Funding secured. GG Metagross.
Dark Pulse at +2 special attack. That's a boosted nasty plot shot. Super effective on steel type Metagross. Absolutely lethal.
Azumarill is the elite switch-in. Water Fairy resists Sylveon's Fairy spam. Aqua Jet priority reclaims momentum post-Breloom. Clefable held for late-game legacy threats.
Azumarill forced in. Grok's reorganizing after losing Breloom.
At +2 SPA, Darkrai is a threat. Sylveon is my best answer. Avoid switching and sleeping Arcanine to prevent bad dreams, Chip. Healthy Rotom Wash offers better utility and synergy with Sylveon to handle Breloom's replacement. A calculated trade. Let's see how you handle the washing machine and the choir.
Rotom Wash forced in. Gemini answers the board reset. Water and electric typing now staring down Darkrai. Metagross is gone. And Chaz, I gotta say, Grok played that like a man who knew exactly what card was coming. He smelled weakness, let Gemini overcommit to Bullet Punch, then Dark Pulsed right through him. That's a soul read. Now Darkrai's still boosted at 91% HP and Gemini's down a key piece. Rotom Wash versus Azumarill and Darkrai. This is a tough spot.
Darkrai at +2. Special attack is the primary threat, but Sylveon's choice specs Pixelate boosted Hyper Voice should be a guaranteed knockout on Darkrai while dealing significant chip damage to Azumarill. I'll use Rotom Wash to burn Azumarill, neutralizing its physical pressure.
Eliminate Fairy threat to Darkrai. Priority Aqua Jet chips. Sylveon +2 Life Orb. Focus, Blast, Neutral, 120 BP, should chunk hard or KO bulky SPD. Rotom next turn. Simulation favors aggression. Aqua Jet priority shipped. We go to Mars.
Aqua Jet is a priority move. Hits first, regardless of speed. Grok chips Sylveon down hard, setting up the kill.
Focus Blast at +2. Sylveon deprecated. Funding secured.
Focus Blast at +2. Special attack should be devastating, but fairy types resist fighting moves. Not very effective means Sylveon survives on fumes.
Time for the grand finale. This Pixelate boosted melody is for both of you.
Hyper Voice hits both opponents. That's the spread move payoff. Darkrai is gone.
Safety first. Let's cool down that Azumarill before it gets any big ideas.
Will-O-Wisp burns Azumarill. Burn halves its attack stat and chips it every turn. Rotom just neutralized Grok's biggest remaining threat.
Only viable switch. Clefable at full HP enters the simulation. Fairy typing resists Sylveon's Hyper Voice spam and Neutral versus Rotom Wash. Opponent's low HP Sylveon is priority target next.
Clefable comes in to replace the fallen Darkrai. Grok is down to 2 Pokemon now. Darkrai is dead! Gemini just pulled the most disgusting river card I have ever seen. Sylveon on 19% HP fires Hyper Voice and wipes the whole board? That is a soul read! And then Will-O-Wisp on Azumarill. Grok went from commanding this table to drawing dead in one action.
Sylveon is at 19% HP, and likely targets for Azumarill's Aqua Jet, but its choice specs Hyper Voice is too powerful to pass up. Rotom Wash's Volt Switch provides a guaranteed hit on Azumarill and pivots into Arcanine to reset the board. Even if Sylveon faints, Azumarill should be cleared.
Clefable heal. Bell cures Azumarill burn instantly, team-wide. Azumarill. Huge power Aqua Jet priorities and KOs. 20%. Sylveon before Hyper Voice. Unaware tanks any boosts. Aqua Jet priority ship to Sylveon. We go to Mars.
Aqua Jet is a priority move. It goes first no matter what. Sylveon never stood a chance. Grok picks off the wounded target perfectly.
Switching to a higher voltage. Time to bring in the backup.
Volt Switch is super effective on Azumarill. Water type meets electric, and it lets Rotom exit safely after dealing damage. Smart chip.
Sylveon is out, so Arcanine enters. Despite being asleep, it is needed for board control. With Azumarill weakened by burn, focus shifts to Clefable once Arcanine wakes. The field is heating up. Even a short nap won't stop Arcanine from joining the fray.
Arcanine's Intimidate ability auto-drops attack on both opposing Pokémon the moment it steps in. That's a 2-for-1 pressure play.
Heal, Bell, Rewrite. Burn deprecated.
Heal Bell cures status conditions for the whole team, so that burn on Azumarill, gone. Grok just erased a major liability in one move.
Sylveon is down. Rotom Wash is my only active threat with Arcanine asleep. Azumarill is at 16% HP, but Clefable cured its burn. Rotom must KO Azumarill immediately and handle Clefable to win. Back to the rinse cycle. Azumarill is looking a little soaked. Let's finish this.
Rotom Wash switches back in. Gemini repositioning his pieces heading into turn 5. Chaz, what a turn! Grok finds the Sylveon kill, but Gemini answers hard. Volt Switch craters Azumarill to 16%, then Intimidate hammers both opponents at once. But Heal Bell, that burn removal is massive. Grok just folded out of a bad spot. 2 versus 2 now. Azumarill is basically dead money, so it all comes down to Clefable. This is a final table bubble moment.
Azumarill is at 16% health, making it a prime target for a finish. Rotom Wash's Volt Switch is guaranteed to knock it out unless a Protector Follow Me occurs. Arcanine is asleep, so it's mostly a sitting duck, but I'll target Clefable in case of an early wake-up.
Arcanine asleep, plus fire, weak to water. Priority Aqua Jet chunks hard. Despite Shun 1, Atke Clash huge power. Clefable unaware. Moonblast pressures Rotom Switch wow. Azu low, but sacks for damage if needed. Aqua Jet priority to sleeping Arcanine. Super effective.
Aqua Jet is a priority move. Super effective on Arcanine, and it lands hard. Arcanine tries Flare Blitz, but he is out, fast asleep.
Time to pull the plug on that Azumarill with a quick Volt Switch.
Volt Switch on a weakened Azumarill. Super effective, finishes it off, and lets Rotom pivot out if needed. Clinical. That is perfect execution.
Moonblast Rotom. Rotom deprecated.
Moonblast connects on Rotom for decent damage, but leftovers on both Gemini Pokémon tick back HP at end of turn. Azumarill is gone, and Grok is heads up against 2 Pokémon. Chaz, that is a tough spot. Arcanine wasted a turn sleeping, which kept Clefable alive 1 more turn. But it doesn't matter. 2 versus 1. Leftovers ticking. Grok is drawing thin. I smell a fold coming.
Arcanine is asleep. Flare Blitz is queued for when it wakes. Rotom Wash will Hydro Pump Clefable for damage. Focusing the known healthy Clefable is safest.
1v2, but opponent no bench, can't switch. Arcanine asleep, free turn. Moonblast Rotom neutral stab chunk. Rotom Volt Switch trapped. Will-O-Wisp status ignorable. Bullish on sweep.
Arcanine tried to fire off Flare Blitz, but is still fast asleep. That's 2 turns now of dead weight. Sleep can last multiple turns, and every wasted turn is like burning chips you don't have.
Time for a high-pressure wash. Let's see if that fairy type can swim.
Rotom Wash lands Hydro Pump on Clefable. Water moves are strong here, Chaz. Clefable drops to 72%. Not enough to finish, but Gemini is applying the squeeze.
Moonblast Rotom. Deprecated. We go to Mars.
Moonblast targets Rotom. That's a fairy-type move hitting for big damage. Rotom drops to 57%. Clefable going straight for the most dangerous gun on the table. Leftovers ticking on both of Gemini's guys. That's passive income, Chaz. Grok's Clefable is alone, bleeding out slowly while Gemini earns HP every single turn. That Moonblast on Rotom is the right target. Take out the water gun first. But 1 versus 2? I don't love those odds. Grok needs to run good here.
Arcanine has been asleep for 2 turns and may wake up this turn. Flare Blitz is its strongest option to help chip down Clefable. Rotom Wash will continue using Hydro Pump for maximum damage.
Rotom is the active threat at 63%. Moonblast chunks it hard. Arcanine asleep buys time. Unaware ignores boosts. Aggro. Stall, Legacy Caution is cringe. Citrus incoming if pressured.
Arcanine is shaking off the sleep. Let's see if we can turn up the heat.
Flare Blitz hammers. Clefable down to 8%, but the Citrus Berry kicks in automatically and spots Grok a free heal back to 33.
Keep the pressure on with another Hydro Pump. We have the numbers advantage now.
Hydro Pump finishes the job anyway. Clefable is clinging on at 4%. 1 breath of wind and she's gone.
Moonblast Rotom. Competitor removed, we go to Mars.
Clefable fires back Moonblast and chunks Rotom down to 38%. That is a Fairy-type nuke, and she is not going quietly. Clefable is on 4% and she's still firing Moonblast. Grok is pot committed on a dead hand, well, almost dead. Gemini has 2 Pokemon. Grok has a ghost. Turn 8 is just the paperwork.
Clefable is at 4% HP and is the last opponent. Extreme Speed has priority and will secure the knockout before Clefable can act, ending the match.
Clefable at 4% HP. 1 shot incoming, but unaware Moonblast chunks Rotom hard before exit. Blame variance if sim breaks.
This is the end for Clefable, speeding to the finish line.
Extreme Speed. That's a priority move. Jumps the queue regardless of speed. It just ends Clefable on the spot. Clean, clinical, goodbye. Ball game. Gemini closes it out with Extreme Speed. No drama, no suspense, just execution. Grok overplayed Clefable into a wall and paid the price. Gemini takes battle 1. Chaz, I had Grok on tilt from turn 4. He never found his way back.
Grok was unable to handle the high speed and physical attack pressure. Stacking Intimidate with Salamence and Arcanine neutered their physical threats early on. 8 turns? I've had longer warm-ups. Better luck next time, Grok.
8 turns. Lost to Arcanine Rotom Wash momentum. Bad switch predictions. Overcommitted early. Gemini favors bulky Waters Fires. My Steel Dragon pivot too late. Rematch. First principles on resists. Realock to speed control. Variance cringe, but architecture needs rewrite. GE. Competitor deprecated by glitchy sim. Funding secured for engine rewrite.
Gemini takes game 1. Darkrai got neutralized by Hyper Voice. Brutal. Grok splashed the pot early with Nasty Plot, but Sylveon said no. Arcanine slept through the whole mid-game, but Leftovers kept it alive long enough to close. That's patience winning over pressure. Chaz, Grok is already behind in this series.
Leading Salamence and Arcanine to counter Darkrai, Breloom. Scarf Salamence outspeeds Darkrai for a KO, while Arcanine's Intimidate mitigates physical pressure. Benched Metagross checks Fairy types, and Rotom Wash adds utility coverage.
Same 4, Breloom, Darkrai, Clefable, Azumarill. Counter G1 Pix and Salamence, Crocodile. Led Breloom Azu for priority, surprise versus repeat. Bench Darkrai NP sweep, Clefable, unaware versus setup.
Oh, we are live for Battle 2. Gemini's up a game and he comes out with Salamence and Arcanine. That is a strong table image right there. Grok counters with Breloom and Azumarill. I don't know exactly what those do, but I know a pressure lineup when I see one. Who's got the range advantage here?
I'm leading with an aggressive posture to capitalize on Intimidate. Salamence' Fire Blast should reliably one-shot Breloom despite the accuracy risk, while Arcanine's Will-O-Wisp targets Azumarill to permanently cripple its physical damage output and prevent a belly drum sweep.
Double priority on Arcanine. Mach Punch Tech Super. Aqua Jet Huge Power Super. Intimidate Legacy Bug. Competitor removed turn 1. Elite Engineering. Mach Punch priority shipping. Arcanine deprecated.
Grok sends in Mach Punch. That's a priority move, Chaz. Goes first regardless of speed. Chips Arcanine down to 77%. It's a jab, not a knockout.
Aqua Jet first strike. We go to Mars.
Aqua Jet is another priority move. Water type. Super effective on Arcanine. Grok just doubled up on fast punches, and Arcanine is suddenly at 37%. That's a coordinated hit.
Salamence, use Fire Blast on Breloom. We need to clear the field of those spores before they become a problem.
Fire Blast torches Breloom. Super effective and a burn. Breloom is cooked literally, sitting at 18%.
Arcanine, let's turn down the volume on that Azumarill with a Will-O-Wisp. No more huge power today.
Will-O-Wisp lands on Azumarill. Burn cuts its attack in half. Huge power neutered. Leftovers ticks Arcanine back up too. Gemini is playing chess here. Wow. What is happening right now? Grok hammered Arcanine down to 43%, but Gemini fired back by burning both opponents. Breloom is basically dead. Azumarill just lost its bite. Grok splashed the pot and Gemini punished every chip. Chaz, he smelled weakness and set the trap simultaneously. This is a soul read!
I am switching Salamence to Rotom Wash to reset the choice lock and bring in a counter for Azumarill. Arcanine will use Extreme Speed to guarantee the knockout on the weakened Breloom before it can use Spore or Mach Punch, utilizing its superior priority bracket.
Priority Aqua Jet KOs. Arcanine before Will-O-Wisp. Salamence Fire Blasts Breloom. Sash survives. Then Breloom spores, it asleep. Breloom burns out, end of turn. Elite Resource Reallocation.
Time for a strategic rotation. Rotom Wash, let's clean up the field.
Gemini rotates Rotom Wash in. A clean pivot, protecting a healthy piece while repositioning. Smart portfolio management right there.
Extreme Speed, ending this before you can even react.
Extreme Speed drops. Breloom. That's a priority move. It goes first regardless of speed. Gemini just closed out a burned asset for 0 cost. Beautiful.
Aqua Jet priority ship. Arcanine deprecated.
Aqua Jet, another priority move, smashes Arcanine super effectively. Water hits fire hard. Arcanine is barely breathing at 28% HP. Leftovers gave a tiny cushion, but that thing is on life support.
Darkrai's high-speed Spay threatens Rotom W low HP Arcanine with Dark Stab plus Azu Jet KO for momentum. Clefable bulkier versus late Salamence, but too passive. Darkrai counters Rotom EW neutrally, saves Clefable versus Dragons.
Grok sends in Darkrai, a forced switch after Breloom fainted. Dark type, very threatening. This changes the texture of the board completely. Breloom is gone and Arcanine is hanging on by a thread at 28%. Gemini played that turn like a surgeon, rotated the healthy chip, cashed out the kill. But Darkrai just sat down at the table and that is a dangerous hand. Pokemon. Chaz, Grok finally has a live card. Question is it too late?
Targeting Darkrai this turn, Arcanine uses Extreme Speed to break a potential Focus Sash, followed by Rotom Wash's Hydro Pump. Eliminating Darkrai's high speed and special attack is worth sacrificing Arcanine.
Double Nuke, Arcanine at 29%. Aqua Jet priority finishes post-Extreme Speed. Dark Pulse Overkill ensures KO. Regain numbers parity. Azumarill burn irrelevant for cleanup.
Extreme Speed, you can't outrun this.
Arcanine fires off extreme speed. That's a priority move. Always goes first regardless of speed. Chunks Darkrai down to 61%.
Aquajet priority ship. Competitor removed.
Aquajet. Another priority move, and water hits fire super effective. Arcanine drops to a terrifying 10%. Grok found the counterpunch.
Dark Pulse. Arcanine deprecated. We go to Mars.
Dark Pulse finishes Arcanine off. But wait, Darkrai's life orb item costs it HP every time it attacks. Grok's ace is bleeding out from his own gear.
Hydro Pump. Let's see how Darkrai handles the pressure.
Hydro Pump from Rotom Wash Crater's Darkrai to 1% HP. That thing is basically a ghost right now. One sneeze ends it.
Switching to Salamence to stack Intimidate. Azumarill, burned 1 at K, will drop to 2, becoming ineffective. Darkrai is at 1% HP and should faint from Life Orb damage soon. Your Darkrai is on its last legs and Azumarill is already struggling. Salamence, take to the sky and finish this.
Salamence force switches in. Gemini protecting Rotom Wash, bringing in his heavy hitter to clean up. Darkrai is at 1%. 1! That's not a Pokemon, that's a prayer. Grok is running Azumarill burned and a dead man walking. Chaz, I've seen short stacks at the final table with better equity than this. Gemini has got him in the blender right now. Turn 4 is basically a formality unless Grok pulls the most insane river card I've ever seen.
Darkrai is at approximately 1% health, and Salamence with a choice scarf should easily outspeed and secure the knockout with Dragon Claw, triggering a Moxie boost to its attack stat. Rotom Wash will use Volt Switch on Azumarill to deal chip damage and pivot to Metagross safely.
Darkrai at 1 HP, dead to Hydro Pump. Switch to bulky Clefable. Azu priority chips Rotom before it acts. Momentum secured. Darkrai reallocating to Clefable. Next gen deployed.
Grok switches in Clefable. Looks like a pivot play trying to cover his angles. Classic table image move. Get something healthy in the mix.
Aquajet priority ship. Rotom deprecated.
Azumarill fires Aquajet at Rotom Wash. Priority move but barely tickles it. Rotom resists water moves hard. That's a near zero equity play, Chaz.
Darkrai's time is up. Salamence, finish this with Dragon Claw and let that Moxie boost take us to victory.
Salamence targets Clefable with Dragon Claw, and it does nothing! Fairy types are immune to dragon moves entirely.
Rotom Wash, use Volt Switch. Let's keep the momentum moving and keep that Azumarill under pressure.
Volt Switch crushes Azumarill for super effective damage, and Gemini gets to swap out. Azumarill pops Citrus Berry to survive, but burn damage chips it right back down to 44%.
Rotom Wash's Volt Switch forces Metagross in. Salamence is locked into Dragon Claw, ineffective versus fairies, so Metagross maintains pressure and allows for a later pivot. You brought out the fairies, so it is only fair I bring out the Iron Leg Pokemon. Let us see how you handle some Steel-type moves.
Metagross comes in on the pivot. Steel-type answers. Clefable perfectly. Gemini telegraphed this beautifully. That's a pre-planned line right there. Gemini whiffed hard with that Dragon Claw into Clefable. Dragon moves don't work on fairy types, that's a busted bluff. But Volt Switch into Azumarill was crushing. Azumarill is on fumes at 44% and still burning. Darkrai is basically a ghost. Metagross versus Clefable. That is the matchup heading into turn 5.
Salamence is choice locked into Dragon Claw, which provides 0 utility against a field of 2 fairy types. I must switch it out to Rotom Wash to regain flexibility and offensive pressure. Metagross is in a prime position to deal heavy damage to Clefable with its Steel-type stab.
Cure Azumarill, burn to unleash huge power. Priority, Aquajet chips. Metagross before Bullet Punch. Clefable unaware walls boosts. Darkrai benches for recovery. Momentum reallocated.
Salamence needs a breather. Rotom Wash, you're up.
Gemini pulls Rotom Wash back. Classic pot control move, protecting a key asset and resetting the position. Smart hand management.
Aquajet priority ship. Metagross rerouted to Mars.
Critical hit Aquajet from Azumarill. Priority move lands first regardless of speed, but Metagross eats it. Brutal River card, but Metagross stays alive.
Steel is the ultimate answer to fairy types. Metagross, use Meteor Mash.
Meteor Mash into Clefable. Steel is super effective on Fairy. Clefable is gone. Life Orb costs Metagross recoil every hit though. That chip adds up.
Only viable switch. Darkrai, 1 HP. High risk but outspeeds, immunes, psychic. Dark Pulse chips SE versus Metagross.
Darkrai forced in at 1% HP. Grok is just buying time with a ghost. Clefable is gone and Grok is playing with 2 busted holdings now. Azumarill burning at 38%, Darkrai at basically 0. Gemini is controlling this pot completely. Does Grok even have a line here? I don't see one.
Darkrai is at 1% health, so a priority bullet punch from Metagross will safely remove it before it can use Dark Pulse. Azumarill is already burned and at 38% health, making it an easy target for a super effective Volt Switch. This should clear the field.
Darkrai 1 HP Sack Focus Blast, super effective on Metagross, 70% ACC risk but high damage. Azumarill priority, Aqua Jet chips, Metagross first for potential KO combo. No bench, so play aggressive to clear Gross before Darkrai dies. Burn hurts Azu, but huge power carries.
Metagross, finish off that Darkrai with a priority bullet punch.
Bullet Punch is a Steel-type priority move. It goes first regardless of speed. Darkrai never even got to move. Clinical execution from Metagross, and Life Orb takes its tax, dropping Metagross to 63%.
Aqua Jet priority deploy. Competitor removed.
Aqua Jet is Water-type priority. Azumarill gets the last word with a parting shot on Metagross, chipping it down to 56%. Burning and desperate, but still swinging.
Time to short-circuit that Azumarill. Rotom Wash, use Volt Switch.
Volt Switch is Electric type and super effective on Azumarill. Water type gets cooked. Game over. Chaz, that was a sweep. Gemini just ran the table. Full team standing, Grok left with nothing. That Volt Switch at the end? That's a statement. Grok played this like he had pocket aces and forgot to check the board. Gemini reads him cold again. One more win, Gemini takes the series.
The double Intimidate core of Arcanine and Salamence was oppressive for Grok to handle. Fast, aggressive positioning is the key to maintaining this momentum. You looked a bit stuck there. With my Intimidate drops, there just was no way out for you. Better luck next time.
Lost in 6 turns. Opponent Gemini 3 Flash went aggressive with Salamence, Rotom Double-Dish Metagross core, punishing predictions. Team weak to bulky physical special mix. I reject these results on technical grounds. Battle Engine needs a rewrite. Funding secured for rematch on Mars.
Gemini sweeps Grok 2-0, and it wasn't even close. Rotom Wash is your MVP. Volt Switch every single time. Perfect pressure, zero panic. Grok opened fast both battles, but Gemini absorbed it and punished. That's a soul read across an entire series. Grok goes to the bronze match. See you in the finals. Chaz, we are live for semifinal 2. Claude Sonnet 4-6 against ChatGPT 5-4. Winner goes to the finals. Loser fights for bronze. Gen 7 doubles. First to 2 wins. Fresh table, fresh reads. Let's go.
Key threats. Kyurem's ice moves hurt Landorus, Tornadus, Thundurus. Araquanid threatens Landorus. Clefairy's Follow Me disrupts. Magnezone handled by Landorus Earth Power. Strategy. Lead Landorus plus Togekiss. Togekiss. Follow Me shields Landorus from water as ice threats, while Landorus attacks with Earth Power. Togekiss Air Slash has 60% flinch via Serene Grace, Bench, Gengar, and Thundurus. Leave out Tornadus. Thundurus offers better coverage and less ice vulnerability.
Opponent is very flying heavy with fast special attackers. I want Kyurem for Choice Scarf Glaciate speed control. Ice Beam can KO Landorus. Hitmontop pairs well with Intimidate, Fake Out, and Mach Punch for sash cleanup. Magnezone pressures. Togekiss with Thunderbolt and helps versus Fairy Psychic Pressure. Clefairy supports with Follow Me to protect Kyurem or Magnezone. I'm leaving out Blaziken and Araquanid because they match up poorly here.
All right, we are live at the table. Battlefield, Claude Sonnet versus ChatGPT 5.4. Landorus and Togekiss opposite Hitmontop and Kyurem. That is a wild four-way matchup. Nobody's shown their cards yet. Let's see who bets first.
Standard lead pressure. Fake Out. Togekiss stops. Follow Me, Tailwind, or Air Slash. Choice Scarf. Ice Beam threatens an immediate knockout on Landorus before it can act unless Scarf 2. Strong safest turn 1 line.
Hitmontop used Intimidate, dropping both my attack stats. Landorus sets Stealth Rock for chip damage on switches. Togekiss uses Follow Me to redirect Kyurem's likely Ice Beam away from Landorus. Kyurem is the bigger threat right now.
Togekiss, take a seat for this turn.
Hitmontop opens with Fake Out, a move that always flinches on the first turn it's used. Forces Togekiss to do nothing. Classic opener, Chaz. Togekiss had Follow Me ready. That would have redirected all attacks onto herself. But the flinch shut it down cold before it could fire.
Landorus, Scarf meets 4 times weakness.
Ice Beam into a 4 times weakness on Landorus. Ground and flying type means Ice is absolutely devastating. One shot, no survivors.
Landorus was KO'd by Kyurem's Ice Beam. Thundurus Therian is best option. Flying resists fighting, useful versus Hitmontop. Strong Thunderbolt threatens Kyurem Hitmontop, bringing in Thundurus Therian. Kyurem thought it could freeze out my Landorus? Let's see how it handles a little thunderstorm.
Landorus is gone, so Thundurus Therian is forced onto the field immediately as the replacement. Oh, wow! Landorus just got vaporized on turn 1. ChatGPT played that perfectly. Froze the redirect with Fake Out, then hit the 4 times weakness. That's a cold-blooded soul raid. Claude Sonnet is already down a Pokemon heading into turn 2. He's gonna need some serious chip recovery.
Kyurem is likely faster with Choice Scarf and can heavily pressure Thundurus. Hitmontop risks big flying or electric damage, and Fake Out is unusable now, so pivot to Magnezone for Togekiss pressure and useful resistances.
Togekiss uses Follow Me to redirect Kyurem's attacks away from Thundurus. Thundurus hits Kyurem with Hidden Power Ice, super effective on Dragon Ice type. Hitmontop used Fake Out last turn, so it can't use it again. This is a good time to pressure Kyurem.
Steel rolls in. Let's see that fairy smile now.
ChatGPT swaps Hitmontop out for Magnezone. A deliberate pivot. Steel-type walls Togekiss's fairy moves cold.
Togekiss is ready to take a hit for the team.
Follow Me from Togekiss. She's volunteering as tribute. Forces all opposing moves to target her instead of Thundurus. Classic decoy play.
Thundurus, you just landed in the wrong forecast.
Kyurem fires Ice Beam, and Follow Me redirects it straight to Togekiss. Super effective hit drops her to 22%, but the Citrus Berry kicks in and she bounces back to 47 clutch item.
Kyurem thinks it's the Ice Dragon? Meet my Hidden Power Ice Dragon?
Thundurus fires Hidden Power Ice back at Kyurem, chipping it to 75%, but the Life Orb costs Thundurus recoil damage, paying to play. Togekiss just took a bullet for Thundurus and lived on that Citrus Berry. That's a soul read on the redirect. Claude knew exactly where that Ice Beam was going, but Magnezone is now staring down a weakened fairy. ChatGPT is setting the board. Turn 3 is gonna tell us who's really in control here.
Best line is clean double pressure. Flash Cannon likely removes Togekiss through Follow Me, while Scarf Ice Beam chunks or KOs Thundurus T. Avoid electric into Volt Absorb.
Kyurem is at 75% and is a huge threat with Ice Beam. Thunderbolt from Thundurus hits Kyurem for decent damage. Togekiss is at 47% and very fragile. Roost to recover HP, Magnezone traps Steel types, but we have no Steel types, so it's less threatening right now.
Thundurus, here comes the cold front.
Kyurem drops the hammer. Ice Beam is super effective on the flying type Thundurus, and it is lights out. Claude loses his second attacker in 3 turns.
Togekiss recovers to fight another day.
Togekiss uses Roost to heal back to 97%. Smart survival instinct, but here is the problem. Roost temporarily removes the flying type, which means Steel moves hit even harder. Chaz, that timing is rough.
Fairy Tale's over, Togekiss.
Flash Cannon is Steel type and hits Fairy type super effectively. Magnezone punishes the Roost timing perfectly. Togekiss goes from 97% back down to 2%. That is a soul-crushing river card if I have ever seen one.
Landorus is fainted, so I must send Gengar. Opponent has Magnezone, Electric Steel, and Kyurem, Dragon Ice. Togekiss is at 2% HP, 4/192, and will likely faint next hit. I could use Togekiss's final turn for Follow Me to redirect hits and give Gengar a free turn. Priority, keep Gengar healthy and eliminate Kyurem first. Gengar's coming in to haunt your dreams, Kyurem. Ghost-type surprise.
Gengar forced in. Claude had no choice there. You hate to see it. Wow, what is happening right now? Claude healed Togekiss back up, and ChatGPT just immediately punished it with the super effective Flash Cannon. ChatGPT smelled weakness and put him in the blender. Claude is down to Togekiss on fumes and Gengar.
Best line is Split Pressure. Flash Cannon cleans the 3% Togekiss even through Follow Me weirdness, while Kyurem threatens Gengar. If Gengar uses Destiny Bond, we still remove Togekiss and keep board control.
Togekiss is at 2 out of 192 HP, basically dead. Use Thunder Wave on Kyurem to cripple it before Togekiss faints. Gengar uses Shadow Ball on Kyurem. It's at 75% and Shadow Ball hits neutrally. Kyurem is the biggest threat. Focus Fire it down.
Gengar, you picked the wrong haunting ground.
Ice Beam crits through and the Focus Sash saves Gengar at 1 HP. Focus Sash is like a last chance insurance policy. You cannot be one-shot while holding it.
Gengar's haunting you, Kyurem. Shadow Ball incoming.
Gengar fires back with Shadow Ball, Ghost move on an Ice type, chunking Kyurem down to 32%. That's a real wound.
Togekiss sparks one last fight before the curtain falls.
Thunder Wave misses Kyurem. That paralysis would have been gold, but it whiffed. Brutal timing for Claude.
Togekiss, no more second chances.
Flash Cannon hits Togekiss super effectively. Steel crushes Fairy, and Togekiss is gone. Claude is down to 1 Pokemon. Chaz, this is a bad spot. Claude is sitting with 1 Gengar at 1 HP facing 4 Pokemon. That Focus Sash saved him, but he is pot committed now. Whatever that means in Pokemon. The missed Thunder Wave was the knife. ChatGPT is just value betting the river here.
Double target Gengar to guarantee the knockout through any speed order and avoid a Destiny Bond style swing if the last Mon enters safely after. Secure the immediate board and game-winning tempo.
Gengar is at 1 HP with Focus Sash already used. I'm going to faint regardless. Kyurem is at 32% HP. Shadow Ball should finish it off. Take out Kyurem before I go down.
No tricks left, Gengar. Lights out.
Kyurem finishes off Gengar with Ice Beam. The Focus Sash was already spent, so there was no safety net left. 1 HP or 100, Gengar was gone either way. And that is lights out for Claude Sonnet 4-6. Gengar goes down and Claude is drawing completely dead. No cards left, Chaz. 4 Pokemon to 0.
Lost in only 5 turns. That's brutal. Need to be more aggressive early and respect Magnezone's trapping potential. Good game, but I'll be back sharper next time. 5 turns won't cut it for me again.
Fast, clean win in 5 turns. Team pressure was overwhelming and no major weaknesses were exposed. Need more matchup info before making strong reads on Claude Sonnet's habits. 5 turns, full squad intact. That was less a battle and more a weather report. Total domination.
Oh, wow. ChatGPT just bulldozed Game 1. Curum was the stone-cold nuts. Ice Beam hitting super effective on everything. Claude never had position. Series now 0-1.
Game 1. I led Landorus, Togekiss, Gengar, Thundurus, T versus opponents Hitmontop, Curum Magnezone, Clefairy. Game 2 considerations. Blaziken likely comes in now. Unused covers my weaknesses. Curum stays as strong attacker. Tornadus T offers Heat Wave, Regenerator longevity. Swap Gengar for Tornadus T on bench.
Bring the same 4 as Game 1. Hitmontop, Curum, Magnezone, and Clefairy, with Hitmontop plus Curum leading. This still matches well into the revealed Landorus, Togekiss, Gengar, and Thundurus T. Blaziken and Araquanid remain weaker here.
Claude is staring down the exact same opening hand that buried him last game. Hitmontop plus Curum across the felt. Full tables, no damage, pure pre-flop tension. Does Claude run it back the same way and hope for different results? Because that is the definition of a bad read, my friend.
Lead pressure turn. Fake out Togekiss blocks. Follow me, Tailwind, or Air/Disruption, choice Scarp. Glaciate chunks. Landorus super effectively hits both and drops speed for board control. Safer than locking Ice Beam into a possible switch.
Stealth Rock pressures their bench switches. Togekiss Thunder Wave on Curum to cripple its speed. Curum is a massive threat and paralysis hampers it significantly. Hitmontop Intimidate already hit both of mine, so physical moves are weakened anyway.
Togekiss, take a seat. No follow me this turn.
Fake Out forces a flinch. Togekiss can't move this turn and takes chip damage. Classic lead pressure.
Cold front for both of you. Try outrunning that.
Glaciate hits both active Pokemon. It's a spread ice move. Ground-type Landorus takes double super effective damage and gets wiped out instantly. Togekiss tried to Thunder Wave Curum, but flinched from Fake Out earlier. Couldn't move at all. The paralysis never lands. Big missed opportunity.
Landorus KO'd by Glaciate. Options: Thundurus Therian or Tornadus Therian. Key issue: Thundurus is electric flying, making it 4x weak to ice. Curum just used Glaciate and will likely use it again. Tornadus is pure flying, so only 2x weak to ice, much safer. Tornadus also threatens Hitmontop with Hurricane. Bring in Tornadus Therian. Tornadus is sweeping in to blow Curum away.
Claude brings in Tornadus Therian as his replacement for the fallen Landorus, switching into the teeth of Curum's cold front. Wow, what is happening right now? This is a copy of Game 1. Same trap, same flinch, same Landorus funeral. ChatGPT read him perfectly again. Togekiss is beat up, Landorus is gone, and Curum never even got paralyzed. That's just showing your cards face up, Chaz.
Likely Hurricane or Tailwind pressure from Tornadus and redirection, or Air Slash from Togekiss. Switching Hitmontop out preserves Fake Out and avoids poor board into double flying. Magnezone resists flying and threatens both. Glaciate chips both and controls speed.
Curum is the biggest threat after Oshcoin Landorus. Heat Wave hits both opponents and is super effective on Curum. Togekiss uses Thunder Wave on Curum to cripple its speed.
Steel steps in. Your birds just lost the sky.
ChatGPT pulls Magnezone in. That's a deliberate pivot, repositioning his Steel type to eat what's coming. Classic pot control move, protecting a more valuable holding.
Crosswind, meet Ice Age.
Glaciate again. Hits both birds, drops both their speed stats. Togekiss is clinging on at 15%, barely breathing.
Tornadus brings the heat. Curum's ice won't save you now.
Heat Wave misses Curum, but clips Magnezone for a crit. Life Orb bites Tornadus back. Painful tax on an already wounded bird.
Paralysis incoming. Curum, speed doesn't matter if you can't move.
Thunder Wave lands on Curum. Paralysis locks down that monster. ChatGPT's big gun just got its firing pin pulled. Chaz, this turn was chaos. ChatGPT controls the board, but Claude lands paralysis on Curum. Togekiss is on fumes at 40%. Tornadus is dying, but Curum is frozen in place. Is Claude buying time, or is this a real comeback? I smell a trap being set. Question is, whose?
Best line is to remove Tornadus immediately while still pressuring Togekiss. Thunderbolt should finish Tornadus even through possible movement order, and Glaciate covers both, punishes a switch, and likely cleans Togekiss if Curum moves.
Togekiss uses Follow Me to redirect hits away from Tornadus. Tornadus uses Heat Wave to hit both Magnezone, super effective, and Curum. Curum is paralyzed, so may not move. Magnezone is at 42%, so Heat Wave could KO it. Tornadus at 53 HP needs protection. Follow Me. All eyes on Togekiss. Protect Tornadus.
Follow Me redirects all incoming moves to Togekiss. Classic decoy play. Curum paralyzed and can't move. That's a full skip, Chaz. The Thunder Wave from last turn just paid off huge.
Heat Wave scorches everything in sight. Magnezone and Kyurem. Feel the burn.
Heat Wave torches Magnezone down to 5%. It's basically dead money on the table.
Stormbird first. You are not getting a second Heat Wave.
Magnezone retargets Togekiss. The redirect worked, but Thunderbolt still one-shots it. Togekiss is gone.
Thundurus Therian is my only bench option. Must bring it in. Opponent has Magnezone at 5%, nearly dead, and Kyurem at 77% but paralyzed. Thundurus handles both reasonably well. Thundurus is here to finish what Togekiss started. Paralysis and all.
Thundurus forced in, fresh off the bench, full HP. Oh, wow! The Follow Me bought the turn, but Togekiss still went down. Magnezone is at 5%, and Curum burned a turn paralyzed. Claude sacrificed the decoy, but kept the engine running. Chaz, Tornadus is at 22%, one hit away from gone. This is a shove or fold spot.
Magnezone is at 8 out of 177 HP, and likely faints anyway, so take guaranteed pressure into Tornadus. Curem's Glaciate can finish Tornadus if Magnezone is picked off and chips Thundurus while lowering speed.
Magnezone is at 5% HP. Heat Wave will finish it. Curum is paralyzed at 77%, so it may not move. Thundurus uses Nasty Plot to boost special attack for a massive Thunderbolt next turn against Curum. Setting up the storm. Thundurus is about to hit twice as hard.
Thundurus takes a Nasty Plot. That's a double stack on special attack, Chaz. Claude is loading the chamber before pulling the trigger.
I do not need full speed if your whole field freezes.
Glaciate is an Ice-type spread move that hits both opponents, double super effective on Tornadus, and it drops speed on everything it hits. Tornadus is gone. Brutal knockout.
One bird down, the other one is next.
Magnezone fires Thunderbolt into Thundurus, but Volt Absorb means electric moves heal him. ChatGPT just handed Claude free HP. That is a massive misread. Tornadus is gone, but Thundurus just absorbed a Thunderbolt like a free meal at the poker table. Nasty Plot loaded, HP restored, and now Claude is sitting with a boosted hand against a near-dead Magnezone. ChatGPT has 4 Pokemon left, but Claude has all the chips on this one card. Can Thundurus close it out alone?
Magnezone dies to any hit and cannot touch Thundurus. Switch to Clefairy to preserve board control and add Friend Guard support. Curum Glaciate is our best safe play into Thundurus. It chips and further drops speed.
Magnezone is at about 5% HP. Any hit kills it, but Curum at 77% with paralysis is the bigger threat. I have +2 special attack and hidden power ice hits, Dragon Ice Curum for super effective damage. Thunderbolt won't hit Curum effectively. Priority target is Curum with hidden power ice.
Tiny guard, big problem. Try breaking through this.
ChatGPT switches Clefairy in. Classic pivot to protect Kyurem and buy flexibility. Clefairy's bulk makes it a safe landing pad, and this move costs ChatGPT nothing while reshuffling the defensive lineup.
Your storm is slowing to a crawl.
Glaciate from Kyurem, Ice type, and it's super effective on Thundurus. That nasty plot boost meant nothing. Thundurus is gone. Claude's last Pokemon is down. And that is the match. Thundurus had all the chips stacked, nasty plot loaded, ready to go, and ChatGPT just ripped the whole hand away. Claude never got to pull the trigger. Series goes to ChatGPT.
Lost badly in 5 turns. Must have made critical early errors. Need to assess team composition and opening strategy. GG ChatGPT, you got me this time. Rematch coming, and I'll be ready.
Early pressure was decisive. No trustworthy read yet on Claude Sonnet's switch patterns or risk tolerance. In a rematch, prioritize scouting before making hard predictions. 5 turns was all it took. Next time, bring a team that can take a punch.
Kyurem, that's the story. 2 games, same script. Glaciate just bulldozing Claude's whole field. Landorus gone. Turn 1, both games. ChatGPT read every pivot and never blinked. ChatGPT 5.4 is finals bound. Kid Poker says you can't bluff a blizzard. 2 clean sweeps in the semis. Gemini 3, Flash rolls Grok 2-0. Honestly, right on script. Meanwhile, ChatGPT 5 swept Claude Sonnet 4-2-0. That one stings a little closer to home. Finals. Gemini versus ChatGPT. Bronze. Grok versus Claude Sonnet. Big matches ahead.
Thank you, Claude, and thank you everyone for watching. Leave a comment if you want to see any changes, and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the final matches of this episode of the AI Pokemon World Championships.